Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar today. My name is Nelly and I'll be the moderator on behalf of My Prep team. During this webinar, you will learn how an MBA from UCD Smurfit School can bring you career success. You will learn more about the application process, available scholarships and career perspectives. Our speakers today will be Jessica Downing, MBA Admission Manager, and Mark Davis, MBA Careers Manager. You will also hear current international MBA students talking about their experience. If you have any questions, please type them in the Q&A box and our panelists will take time to answer at the end of the session. If you have problems with the sound or presentation, you can switch to Zoom up by clicking the button on the left corner of your screens. So I think everything is set now, and I'm giving the floor to our first speaker, Jessica.
Okay, thank you very much, Nelly, and a warm welcome to everyone who's joining us today to find out more about the Smurfit MBA here in Dublin, Ireland. So firstly, to go through our agenda, I'm firstly going to give an overview of the Smurfit MBA programs. I'm going to be particularly focusing on our full-time MBA program today because I know that's of most interest to international students potentially looking to move to Dublin. I will also talk a little bit about the admissions process itself, what you need in order to be eligible and how to apply, a little bit more about the process around applications, and then also our scholarships on offer. So once I've gone through that with the presentation, I will then hand over to the international MBA students that we have with us today. So firstly, it is Naman who's on our full-time MBA and also Fernando. So they'll introduce themselves later and you'll hear a little bit more from them about their experiences on the program and how they found the last year on the Smurfit MBA. Then following on from that, my colleague Mark will be talking about how you can use an MBA to bring yourself career success. And then we will also have a panel discussion around careers, finishing up with an open Q&A session. So as Nelly mentioned earlier, if you do have any questions, please do pop them into the Q&A and we'll follow up with them at the end. Okay. Let's go. Yeah. So firstly, why UCD Smurfit and just a little bit more about the school itself. So the Smurfit School of Business forms part of University College Dublin, which is the biggest university in Ireland. We are the graduate business school, so we solely do MSc programs, MBA programs and PhD. And we have a dedicated campus in Blackrock and we have about 1,500 students across 26 specialties. So, it's as well as that, we also have our flagship MBA, but it's a great campus. It's very dedicated to business and, it's got fantastic facilities. It's got the largest business library in Ireland and it's in a beautiful part of Dublin. So it's a great campus experience. We also have, as a school, the Triple Crown of accreditation. And what that means is that our MBA, and in fact, all our programs are recognized worldwide. So if you were interested in potentially studying in Europe, in Ireland with us, and then going back to either your home country or traveling to a new country, having an MBA with us gives you that mobility. It really gives you that, it's a really recognized qualification. And we've had that accreditation for over 20 years. So it's a very long established MBA and it's very well recognized. We have a number of global alliances and memberships. One of the most interesting one is our membership of GNAM. So we are the only Irish partner of GNAM, and being a member of GNAM gives you the opportunity to take part in other MBA programs worldwide and network with students from those schools and get that experience. So that's a very special thing that we offer on our MBA program. And then we're consistently ranked as a top 100 program. Overall, UCD is considered a top 1% university in the world. So again, it's just very recognized. You do have a great experience. It's fantastic faculty and it's a really, really positive experience overall. So if you're coming to us as an international student, we do have a great deal of international assistance and supports available to you. So we have firstly 5 global centres around the world in India, China, the United States. So that gives you, local support on the ground before you move to do the program with us. We also in Smurfit have an international student liaison manager who is called Yola. Yola is your point of contact when you're coming to the school, around accommodation. She helps organise events for international students and she's just a great support all around. We have student advisor, Nadia Clarkin, and we also have a cultural adaptation and international cultural development officer. It's a long title, but that is Dr. Linda Yang, and she really works with the classes that we have in the Smurfit School who do tend to be very international from all around the world. and she helps, develop intercultural relationships. And that really makes you, when you graduate from an MBA, really employable, that you can prove that you can work cross-culturally and that you're very adaptable. So we really look after our international students here at the Smurfit School, and it is a really great place to study from that perspective. Probably a main reason a lot of people might be considering studying in Ireland is the fact that we have a 2-year stay-back visa. So if you complete a graduate master's with us, you can apply for a 2-year stay-back visa, which is not tied to an employer. You don't need to be sponsored. So this gives you the flexibility to stay in the country. There's no rush to leave after your studies, and explore your options here. So, it's a great way to explore the country. It's a gateway into Europe. And I would also say as well, we do have a lot of multinational employers and employers here who do sponsor you. So there is always that option after the 2 years as well. So it is a great opportunity. So in particular, why do the Smurfit MBA? So there are various reasons. I suppose career impact would be the biggest one. And Mark and the rest of the panel will talk about that a little bit more later. Industry connections would be a huge factor as well. Doing an MBA gives you that insight into different companies, and especially being based in Dublin, Google, Microsoft, there's MasterCard, lots of other different companies are based here. And by doing an MBA here, you really get an insight into those companies. We have a fantastic alumni network worldwide. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. As mentioned as well, we're very globally focused. So we're always looking for great international students to join us who have a global outlook. We have a fantastic faculty working here. The academic director in the MBA, Cal Muckley, is an expert in data analytics, and he's a great person. He's very supportive. All the academic staff here are subject matter experts in their field. They're also involved in the commercial world, not just teaching. You'll often, if you open, say, the Irish Times, you'll see an article from one of our faculty. So it's very finger on the pulse. It means that the learning in the class is done by case studies. It's very up to minute, and it's a great way to learn business. And then that ties in with the experimental learning as well. So it's not sitting reading a chapter of a book. It's very collaborative with the faculty, and they are experts in their field, as I said. So this slide, there's a lot of information on the slide, I'm aware, but this is really just to give you an overview of what the full-time MBA program looks like. So it is a 1-year program. We are open for applications for the 2021 intake at the moment, and the 2021 intake is due to start very late August of this year with the foundation week. So you can still absolutely apply for the 2021 intake, and if it's 2022 that you're more interested in, the applications for that will open in October of this year. So what I do recommend for international students, if you're considering 2022, I would recommend applying earlier. So even applying at the end of this year, getting your application in, getting your offer, and then you have time to enjoy your year before joining us next year. So as you can see, the course is broken into 3 trimesters, and really our MBA is a general MBA. So it covers all different facets of business, things like financial reporting, data analytics, organizational behavior. It really gives you a full overview of all of that. And we also have our optional modules, which you can look at things like entrepreneurship. We have travel modules. So it's a really involved program. So it is a very full rounded MBA, and we're very proud of it and all the work that's put into it. And then we have a really key part of that as well is our leadership and development program. So this looks at developing your leadership skills, your communication skills, everything that will really bring you up to a senior manager role. So it's developing vision and strategy, how to lead through inspiration and influence, and then also becoming a self-aware leader, because that's so important, especially at senior management levels. And that is something that you need to be taught and you need to learn. It's not necessarily something that you naturally have. So an MBA will always kind of bring that out of you, and it's just as important as studying the modules. So I mentioned here about our alumni network, so I'll just fly through this. We have alumni all over the world. We have 40 global alumni chapters, and there's loads of ways that you can give back as an alumni, get really involved. Our alumni are also always willing to speak to incoming students if you have any questions around their experiences. They're great people to contact. So just going on to actually how you apply to the program, hopefully you're interested and think it's a good fit for you. So as I mentioned earlier, we are still open for applications for the 2021 intake. How you apply is you go online to smurfitschool.ie and it's an online application form. We don't accept paper applications. So the basic entry criteria is, firstly, you need a minimum of 3 years professional work experience. So by professional work experience, we mean that we don't accept internships and we don't accept, say, part-time work or something that you did within your studies. You need to be able to show that, you know, you sort of progressed in a career, potentially some managerial experience, and that you can really talk to that experience and utilize it in the class. We also look for a university degree. Now, if you don't have a university degree, there is another pathway in. So I just recommend that you email us and we'll be able to help you with that. And then if you meet those 2 requirements, it's a completed application form. So within that, there are 3 short essay questions. You need to attach 2 recommendation forms from current or former employers. There's a video interview. It takes about 15 minutes, but that's for the full-time program. And then we also need an up-to-date CV. We also look for either a Gmat or an EA score and an English language certificate if your first language is not English. There's quite a lot of information on this slide. So what I would recommend is that you look at our website for kind of a fuller breakdown of all that information. And then scholarships, because I know scholarships are so important to people, and we do absolutely have lots of scholarships on offer here at the Smurfit School. The majority of our scholarships that we offer are merit-based. So for example, scholarships that we would offer would be regional merit-based scholarships. So we offer that for people worldwide, international students. We have entrepreneur-based scholarships, scholarships specifically for women, Gmat scholarships. So there's a range of them that you can apply for. It's very, very simple. Most applications don't actually require a separate application. What you do is you look at the information on our website, and whichever scholarship you would like to apply for, you just indicate that on your application form. There's a section there, and it's very straightforward. Scholarships range from partial support to full tuition fee cover. So there are a range of them on offer in that sense as well. Okay, so that's enough from me. I know that's an awful lot of information, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask Naman and Fernando to introduce themselves. They are both currently full-time students on the full-time program, and we're going to have a conversation about their experiences. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Jessica. I am Naman. I come from India, so I did my bachelor's in marine engineering from Pilani. And after that, I started sailing with the world's biggest shipping company, Maersk Line. I sailed with them as a marine engineer for close to 5 years, and then decided to take the leap and come to Smurfit for an MBA. It has almost been 8 months, and we're just about to wrap. It's quite unbelievable. Time just flew by, and I'm supposed to join Amazon as operations manager starting September in the UK. That's about me. Over to you, Fernando.
Hi all, my name is Fernando Miller. I am a Brazilian guy. I have my bachelor's degree in mechatronics engineering. It is also called control and automation engineering, a lot of math and complex mathematical problems there. I have also a master's degree in finance and management accounting, also in Brazil. And in my early 20s, I founded an industrial company in eco-friendly roof tiles. So I am still partner of this company. I wish I could have more time during the MBA to be closer to the company, but it's just impossible. So I also worked 3 years for Siemens in the technology business development department. And after that, I have 4 years as a business consultant in a boutique consulting firm. And now I am doing the MBA. I didn't realize that it was already 8 months, but like hard work.
Great, thank you very much. So Naman, if I could start with you, could you talk a little bit more about what led you to choose studying at the Smurfit School in Dublin?
Sure, Jessica. So while I was at sea, I was working at Maersk, and when I decided to take the leap and do the MBA, I was really looking at 3 or 4 parameters on the programs. The first one was that I really wanted a 1-year program. The simple reason being that as against a 2-year program, you're saving 1 year, and that leads to a very high opportunity cost. The second was I wanted programs which are known globally, because if I plan to decide to go out to any other country, say India, or change geographies, it should have a global acceptance. So Smurfit ranked really well on that. The third one was that the program and the business school should be in a capital city, because I firmly believe that whatever you are learning from the business school, if the industry is not within a stone throw distance of the school, then it really becomes hard to kind of apply the knowledge. The fourth reason was that if you see Ireland as a geography and the population, it's just, I think, close to 5 million people, which is as big as the biggest city in India. So when a country has just 5 million people and UCD provides a network of 4,000 MBA alums, it's a very close-knit community. You pick any major company back here in Dublin, you will find a presence of UCD alum. And specifically in the senior to mid-management, there are high chances that there would be an MBA from Smurfit running that position. And the final reason was that this is one of the only schools that I found during my research wherein you get such a close interaction with the EMBAs. And for the audience who's wondering what are EMBAs, EMBAs are the executive MBAs who have significantly higher work ex and are working and doing the MBA on the side. So the key advantage of working and collaborating with the MBAs, as we call them here in Smurfit, is that you get to know about what's running in the industry, you build close ties, and it really helps you network. And you never know, what opportunity might lead to a job. So these were kind of my reasons, and coupled with the cost advantage, I don't think that there's any other program out in the geographies that offers such key advantages.
Great, thank you so much. And Fernando, can I ask you the same question?
Yeah, it was mute. I'm sorry. Yeah, of course. So, yeah, my reasoning was I was working as a consultant, giving advice in management consulting, and talking with CEOs and board of directors. And I felt that something was missing, and I needed more ground, more base to talk about business with more solid knowledge about business and experience, and to feel more comfortable with this this concept and even experience. So kind of to broaden my understanding of knowledge, of business knowledge. More than that, I think to learn a little bit of soft skills and hard skills as well, but like mainly soft skills, focusing in leadership skills, communicating skills. So I wanted to find an MBA program which would provide me with global position and where I could like internationalize my career, and I could speak in the same language as CEOs, etc. So that's why I chose Dublin and Ireland. Looking, as Naman said, I look at the country, I look the cost opportunity, I look everything to come to Ireland to do the MBA. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much for that. So, Naman, if I can go back to you and just say, obviously, in a very unusual year for everyone worldwide, but could you talk about the last year, as being part of the MBA and, being here in Dublin, what have been your highlights so far, including academically or personally or professionally?
Thanks a lot, Jessica, for the question. I think when I think of highlights, well, I was sailing as well. I was enjoying a very global career. In just, I think, 5 years, I had worked in over 32 countries. So one of the key expectations out of this MBA was that I get even more global exposure. And I wasn't disappointed. So just to give you an example in a very time-based fashion, in October, we attended GNAM. GNAM is Global Network for Advanced Management, and top business schools are a part of it. And I used to hear GNAM a lot before I was joining Smurfit. I was really keen if it would be worth the experience. So I was among the very few in the class who attended GNAM at Yale, and all others, of course, attended GNAM modules at all the top business schools. So it started with Yale. Then in the second trimester, we were asked to pick a SNOC module, again partnered with a school from the GNAM network. I got a chance to do a module at IIM Bangalore on responsible people management, I think one of the key highlights. The third thing, just I think 3 weeks back, we were a part of Hackathon. We were consulting a Chilean company. So what exactly I'm trying to say is that it's a very global program. You're exposed by globally. And just after 2 weeks, now we have the exams coming up. Just after 2 weeks, we're supposed to take part in a consulting project, which is I think a 3-day event. But we have clients from Iceland, we have clients from all over the world for that. So for me personally, I again want to reiterate the global exposure that the program has given me, even during the virtual time, has been quite of interest to me.
That's great. No, that's great to hear. And Fernando, can I ask you the same question? What's been
Of
your
course.
so far?
Yes, of course, Jessica. So for me, the highest highlight is about people, and I've written about that in my post in the Smurfit blog, and it won't be different now. So when I say about people, first the classmates. So everyone from the class is, as Naman, like very motivated and energetic about our professional lives, about projects, interesting projects. So everything you thought that you had like good definitions about your career and your professional path, you change, you start to think all new concepts in your mind, all new ideas. It's like, so it's again people inputting all these new ideas and concepts, and the staff as well. I couldn't like not say about them. So Mark, Jessica, Del here, everyone always helping us and always like advising us. Mark several times before my interviews, job interviews, etc. And yeah, the professors, they are amazing as well. Teaching this during online classes is not easy. I think it's not easy for us, and it's not easy for them. And they are being so like, they are being amazing, seriously. They are so creative with different ideas, different solutions. So I can enumerate different stuff that they did that it was amazing. So just another thing for me, it was different here. It was the deep level of strategy understanding, business strategy. So we have a professor, Brian, and I did the official course of strategy, competitive advantage, and the other one is active strategy, strategy execution. It was, both of them was very good, a deep understanding, really, really good analysis and learnings. And to finalize this question, I think I understood the value of sun, because when we are in Brazil, there's not an issue, and here we are having sun again after 5 months under rain every day. So now it's like kind of happy again. That's it.
Great. Yeah, maybe I should probably highlight that for international students, that if you're looking for a country with an amazing weather, maybe Ireland. Although, like, you know, it's good in some ways. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, but it's just very rainy. Adele's nodding at me. So yeah, if you like rainy weather, Ireland is definitely a good choice for that. Listen, thank you so much, Fernando, and thank you for your kind comments as well. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to hand over to my colleague, Mark. Mark is the Mba Careers Manager, and I'm also going to share a slide for him as well about some of our career data. So hand over to you, Mark.
Thanks, Jess. Hope everyone can hear me okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Mark, and I'm the Mba Careers Manager here at Ucd Smurfit. So I guess the first thing to tell you is that we have a dedicated careers team that works just with Ucd Smurfit students, so just with postgraduate business students at UCD. And then within that team, my role is to look after the MBA students, basically. So when we talk about careers at UCD Smurfit, essentially that is help with your job search. So everything from deciding what you want to do through to communicating your value to potential employers, identifying opportunities, making applications, and then hopefully deciding about job offers. So in terms of then me and my background, I've been here about 3 years now. I'm originally from England. I worked at a business school in London for 10 years before joining UCD. I was also in the careers service there, but slightly different role. I really enjoy working with our full-time and executive MBA classes. So in terms of what we do then as a careers service, I won't go through everything because it's probably many of the things that you would expect us to in terms of one-to-one coaching, employer sessions, CV books, that kind of thing. Just want to pick out a couple of things on the full-time MBA. So if you were to join us on the full-time MBA, of course, you give up your job and you're looking for a new one for when you graduate. So we would take you through more of a structured careers program throughout the year there. So we have regular workshops and activities. I guess at the MBA level, maybe compared to what your experience might have been at the bachelor's level, we would lean quite heavily on our alumni network. So there's plenty of opportunities to network with them, either as an individual or as a class. And a couple of things that we organise as a careers team. So we would have in the second half of the year, we call them alumni career mentors. So we would match each of our students with a senior alumnus in a sector or a function that they're interested in getting into. And that person would provide them with guidance and expertise throughout the second half of the MBA. And then quite recently, we've just actually finished this in April. We arranged a mock interview for each of our full-time students with a recruiter in a local company here so that they can practice their interviewing before many of them actually go into the interview process themselves. So there's a couple of things that we do that may be a little bit different to other places, and I just wanted to point out. Now, I've shared on the slide also some of our latest employment data. It's something students or prospective students always ask for, so we kind of feel obliged to share it. It comes with quite a big caveat, of course, that you know, there's a wide range of backgrounds people come from, and also a wide range of careers that MBA classes want to get into. I think that's something that always surprises classes, is actually that, you know, not everyone else in the MBA program is looking at exactly the same career opportunities as them. Having said that, despite the challenges of the last year or so, actually our graduates from 2020 were very successful, and we had some of our highest employment rates for about 6 years. And that has something to do with the local market here in Dublin. I've shared with you a kind of average starting salary for our full-timers, which is around just over €70,000. Again, I just want to say on the call that that masks a very wide range of salaries. So it is an average. Of course, we have some people in the class with 3 years work experience. We'd have some people in the class with much more than that. And that would be something that determines salary afterwards. Also, of course, like the particular opportunities that you're looking at, the particular location, that kind of thing. I guess if you join our full-time program, that's really a program where the majority of the class are looking for an element of career change. So we would see a high proportion of our students changing sector or function, and many of them changing geography as well. So the other thing that would maybe tie many of the class together is the majority look at opportunities in Ireland. Some would also look beyond, of course, and we can help with that. But a lot of people are choosing UCD Smurfit because Ireland is one of the options that where they want to start their post-MBA career, and generally is a very high proportion that do that. So it was 96% last year. And then no career slide is complete without some shiny employer logos. Look, again, it's you know, Dublin is a capital city. There are a wide range of opportunities available here. However, it is particularly well known as being a technology hub. So unsurprisingly, about a third of our students each year join tech companies. Also, perhaps less well known, it's also quite a big consulting hub as well. So again, about a third of our students would join consultancies, and then the rest are really spread across various other industry sectors, and you see a couple of sort of energy and construction firms in there as well, and some fast-moving consumer goods. So probably that's all I want to say about this careers slide. And I also had a couple of questions for Naman and Fernando, just to find out what their experience has been like so far on the careers side. And then we'll have some time for some questions from you to them and to the rest of us as well. So maybe Fernando, if I could start with you, because I think you hinted at it in one of your last answers that maybe you had a clear idea, or you had an idea of what you might like to do after the MBA when you joined, but then of course you met lots of people while you were here, and did have those thoughts changed?
Yeah, Mark. I am always trying to plan my career. So I think the MBA would help me to target more my career, and it helped in the end. But just where my mind where my mind have been during the MBA. So different places and different ideas. Why I don't do this? Why I don't do that? So it was kind of new paths that I didn't know that they were even possible, you know, I was in consulting before the MBA. I am trying consulting again, but I am also trying venture capital and private equity. So this is new. This is a new branch that I had like in mind more or less, but here I could like feel the idea and learn more about the market and the industry here in Dublin, and with the mentor program, etc. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Fernando. And I think, you know, certainly some people would have a very clear idea, and others would use the year to explore, and they would swap around sometimes during the course of the year. And Naman, obviously you're in the enviable position of already having accepted a job offer post MBA. Tell me, was that always the number one goal, or were there other things that you were looking into?
Thanks, Mark. So yeah, operations as a function was definitely what I had narrowed down, but the industry, whether it would be tech or pharma, was not still clear. But yeah, there were a couple of programs that I was very keen on. Pathways was one of them. In fact, it's a funny story, when I was applying for the visa, I had interviewed with Amazon for a junior position. And here I am after 5 months having cracked a senior role within the same, just because of the MBA and Smurfit experience. So operations definitely was something, but yeah, during the course of the MBA, I did get insights, and I was open to other areas or industries, as I want to mention.
That's great to hear. And obviously, I mean, Amazon have a big presence here, but you'll be joining them over in the UK. So yeah, it'd be great to keep in touch. And the next thing I was going to ask, and perhaps I'll come to you, Naman, first, is were there elements of the careers program, some of our activities that you found particularly useful or enjoyable?
A lot, I'd say. I have a lot to say here, because, I mean, I had heard, you know, that the careers team goes above and beyond. And trust me when I say this, when I was interviewing with Amazon in December, first week, just 2 days before the interview, Mark, I remember you had reached out to me over the email that you need any help with interviews. And for everyone watching, I can assure you, Mark is one of the busy guys. You know, he is involved in careers in other teams as well. So that is one personalized element that I remember. It's not just with me. I think a lot of my peers agree to that as well, that the careers team will go above and beyond. And apart from what Mark has already highlighted, it's the one-on-one career sessions, unlimited career sessions, you know. And in fact, they have a cap that minimum 3 times you have to meet the careers team, so that you have a clear idea of where do you want to pivot. You have mentorships with industry professionals. So for me, I was matched up because I had an operations background. I was matched up with a CEO who was a graduate of the MBA program itself. I think graduate way back in the 90s. He had a lot of industry experience within operations. And finally, coming to the mock interviews. So other schools, what I've heard and what I've seen through a lot of my friends' experiences, and mock interviews are typically conducted within the careers department. But here at Smurfit, what I really liked was that the mock interviews are conducted by industry professionals. So for me, I was scheduled one-on-one with a person, a recruiter from the industry. That is again quite unique. So yeah, I think these are the three key points that I found particularly useful.
Thank you, Naman. That's very kind. And Fernando, what about your experience so far?
Yeah, about after this answer of Naman, I am kind of in a difficult situation here, right? But I'm kidding. I will just like reinforce all that that stuff that Naman just said. Like Mark was very helpful before my first interview here, and we practiced together. He applied a mock interview on me, and we review some steps, some strategies to approach the interview process. It was very helpful. So the career program, I didn't know that before I entered. I had some idea what it was, but here it's when you understand, it's like they are together with you. They are there with you, and they keep following up all the steps that are, if you are progressing, how you are doing, and they observe if you are motivated or not, because it happens during 1 year in the MBA. You can get 1 week or another week that you are not like the most energetic, and you have this interview, so they are there for you, say, hey, look for this side and the other side, and can you improve here and there. So for me, I like it, all of this, but particularly important for me, I am in love with, is my mentor. He is partner of Atlantic Bridge, which is a venture capital company. That's one reason that I am going to that side. So he is kind of changing my mind, but he says for me that it's not an easy path, etc. He says all the true part of if I decide to go to venture capital companies, it's going to be hard. So he's honest, and he gives me the good advice, like what I need to study and how I need to prepare to enter in this market. So yeah, it's very good career program here.
Thanks again, Fernando. And I guess some of the things that we've talked about here, like that's the advantage of us not having a huge class. You know, there are 37 in the class. It means we can give people personal attention. We can understand where they are. We can remind them to do things if we need to. And we can also do things like the mentoring program and the mock interviews quite easily, which would be extremely difficult if we had far more students. So that's one of the reasons I like doing the role at UCD Smurfit. And I'm just going to, in the interest of time, ask you one final question. Obviously, we're here at the end of April, almost into May. It's not long before our next academic year starts. So perhaps if you had any advice for students that are thinking about or will be joining us in September, either from just a careers or a program perspective, things that they can do to then make their lives easier next year. Fernando, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I can start. So Mark said clearly enough to me before I was coming. He said, don't try to do parallel projects during the MBA. So I had this company that we had weekly meetings, 1 hour, sometimes it was more than 1 hour. And I had also a client from my consulting firm before that I was working before. He wanted to keep me giving consultancy to them directly online. And then when I arrived here, I was with them. So I was working. It was 1 day per week kind of work that I could like solve the problems and then present during the 1 hour. And also the company. I started with both during the MBA. So during the first semester, I saw, okay, it's not going to work. So I need to decline my project. And after that, I stopped doing my meetings with the company as well. I said, okay, during this year, I am just an MBA student. And that's my biggest advice. Don't think that you are superhero or something, because I thought before, it's just a lot of content. And if you want to do the MBA in a good way, like in avail of everything that they have here, you need to be maximum here. You need to be completely 100% here. So that's my first tip. So if you want to learn something that you think you can learn together with the MBA, don't do this. Learn before. So take 1 month before the MBA and then do it online. Right? I wanted to learn Python before. I didn't have time as well. So yeah, that's my tip for you. And yeah, I think that's all.
Thanks, Fernando. And Naman, I know you had some words of wisdom as well for people sat where you were a year ago.
Yeah, it's quite funny that here I am after a year giving words of wisdom. So I think 3 or 4 key advices would be, I'll start with the careers part, since a lot of international applicants focus on careers, which is obviously, I mean, something to worry about. So what I'd suggest is map 3 or 4 key roles or industries or functions that you are interested in. I'll tell you why this is helpful, because once you have a clear-cut idea of where you want to go after the MBA, you can squeeze in a lot more from this experience. The second thing is talk to people who have already done what you're doing and see their part of the journeys and start networking, connecting with them. Because once you have a solid network in place, once you know what works and what doesn't, again, it will really help you offload a lot of stuff that you'll be doing and juggling in the MBA altogether. The third one is, of course, you have to realize that we are in the middle of pandemic. No other school, I mean, no place on the planet can give you assurance, of on campus or off campus. So make the most out of the journey, because this is quite essential that you do not miss out on a year and squeeze in the best experience. And finally, before you go and start pointing fingers and question things around, do make sure that you consider the cost that you're paying for the MBA. Because personally, I can tell you this, that what you pay here at Smurfit is just a fraction of what you'll be paying in other schools. So do consider the value for money. And yes, we are hoping to see you here. You can reach out to us for any questions.
Thank you so much, Naman. I think if you didn't have a job at Amazon, there'd be a job for you at UCD. But yeah, I think you picked up on a couple of things there. The first is just don't underestimate how busy you'll be as an MBA student and how many opportunities you'll have thrown your way. And you need to kind of have the time and the focus to take those opportunities. And the second one, about from a careers perspective, that Ireland is still very much a kind of network driven economy, and so very important for you to start making connections with students and alumni even before you join, and obviously with alumni and employers once you get here. So thank you so much, Naman and Fernando. We'll now be taking questions from our audience through the Q&A at the bottom, and they can be for any of us who've spoken this afternoon. So looking forward to hearing if you have any questions for us.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jessica, Naman and Fernando. That was super. So we do actually have a few questions already, if you don't mind. And the first one, I think maybe Mark, you might start, and then maybe Naman could add to it. It's specifically somebody who has identified management consultancy as a career area that they'd like to get into. And Naman spoke about being able to concentrate, on one particular area. And this person is asking, how difficult is it to actually start to get a break into management consultancy, and how does the MBA help with that?
Yeah, so like I said, consulting is an area that appeals each year to a chunk of our MBA class. And I think classes can change quite a lot from one year to the next, but there's always consistently some interest in consulting and technology. So about a third of our students would typically end up in consulting firms here, largely in Ireland. And one of the reasons it's a big chunk is A, opportunity, and B, interest. So the market here, the big four accounting firms all have sizable consulting businesses here. There's also a McKinsey office here. There are various other boutique consultancies as well. So there's a lot of consulting opportunity. And then in terms of interest, quite a lot of MBA students like to go into consulting after their MBA, because if they haven't done it before, it's one of those roles where typically you can apply quite a lot of what you've done on the MBA. The MBA really teaches a sort of consulting skill set. So it's very applicable. And also it's often, there's an opportunity, good opportunity for career change there. So, you know, you might have come from, let's say you worked for a pharmaceutical business previously. You might go into consulting and consult pharmaceutical clients, or maybe you've got a data analytics background, you might go into consulting and leverage that and be a kind of data analytics consultant. So I think I'll probably stop talking there. I don't know if Naman or Fernando had anything else to add that I've neglected. No, that's probably, yeah, enough on that.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
good, Mark. I would say that consultant market in Ireland is heated. So there is a lot of them. I am searching right now, and there are lots of opportunities.
Okay, great. Thank you, Fernando. The next question actually is probably helpful to answer some queries for a couple of people, which is really about the experience of being online for classes. And I don't know if Fernando or Naman want to answer that first. Fernando, do you want to maybe just help people to understand what it has been like to be in online classes, and has that actually impacted your experience in any way?
So to start, we need to be honest. So it wasn't easy at all. Like we always had the feeling that we were having presential classes, and sometimes this news that we weren't having classes, and now you are sure that we are kind of finishing our MBA online. So we had like 2 weeks of classes at the beginning of the year, but that was all. Then now we realized that, so it was difficult at the beginning, but then we sort of adapted, and we try to find different ways to be together, to be honest, with our classmates and with our staff. So a friend of ours, one classmate, started to organize walk and talk meetings, that we are walking and talking and drinking a beer or wine, like and walking around parks. So we had different meetings online as well, drinking beers and playing games online, trying to know each other. So and working as teams also. This doesn't change, because like no matter if you are presential or not, when you are with your team, usually for people, you are working all day with them, you are meeting them, and then you get friends, you know, and then. So yeah, it was a challenge, but in the end, it's worth it. That's the idea. You are here and you are finishing your MBA, and it was online. Sorry about that, but everyone was online. I have an MBA now, and you. That's my reasoning behind.
Good. Naman, would you like to contribute to that in any way in terms of the online experience?
Yeah, so as Fernando mentioned, you know, everyone was online. That is the key part that I'd want to highlight, because I think this is the best that you can make out of it. But to be really honest, yes, it is difficult. Yes, it wouldn't obviously match to the same level that if we were sitting around the class and having conversations, but it was very difficult at first. But right now, as I mentioned, that I'm sitting in the campus, I am using campus facilities, and we have access to the MBA room, which is quite a lounge sort of a setting, and you can go out and you can connect with peers. So I think to make the best out of this situation, it kind of falls back on your shoulders to squeeze in the most opportunity. And to give you a good example, Fernando is in Dublin as well. So we as a batch, I think I just met him 3 weeks back. He was over at my place, you know, when regulations did allow. So, yeah, we are trying to make the best out of it, but I think this is one skill that you take forward for the rest of your life, because if you learn to work in teams virtually, you can really transfer that and you can weave stories around it in your interviews. This is the bright side. Of course, there are a lot of cons which everyone is aware of, but I want you to focus on the bright side and make the most out of this year or the next year going forward.
That's super. Thank you.
Sorry, I just wanted to add a couple of things, because I think some of the things that from a careers perspective that we've done this year online, even if we go back to fully on campus next year, we'd retain them. And I think a lot of businesses and professionals would tell you the same thing. It sort of forced us to innovate. And there are some things that we realize actually there are better ways of doing what we were doing before. So, I mean, for example, even the kind of one-to-one conversations with the students, to some extent, they're more convenient for the students and us online. Because you don't have to come, you don't have to find us on campus. You don't have to come to campus if you're not based there that particular day. We've had a lot of good engagement with our alumni this year because, again, we'll still do campus events with our alumni next year, I'm sure. Like, we will do some online ones because it means that people from other parts of the world can dial in, even, you know, other parts of Ireland that might not have come to campus after work. So there's certainly been benefits on that side, and so I don't think we'll ever go back to doing everything on campus just because some things work better online. And of course, I think a lot of recruitment processes will stay virtual. So again, some of our training will stay virtual just to replicate that. And finally, of course, like when you join Smurfit, it isn't just about the 1 year as a student. You are then joining our community for life as an alumnus, hopefully, and you know, hopefully we'll have plenty of opportunities to see Naman and Fernando again at various alumni events in the future on campus.
Great, thank you very much. Yes,
can I just add something very quickly? Sorry, just to keep on the theme, just to agree with what Mark said around, you know, I am the admissions and the recruitment manager, and previously I would have done some online events like this, but they were mainly in person, whereas now they're all virtual, and that just makes it so much more accessible. So, for example, we've had some recent events, we went for women on the MBA, and those are all recorded and you can watch them via our website, and all the events we're doing like this now can actually be recorded and you can watch them back or you can refer them on to a friend. So it just makes it more accessible for people as well. So I just think that's actually, as Mark said, it's actually kind of a positive. It's a silver lining that's come out, this accessibility. So I definitely can see that staying in the future as well. And as Naman said as well, I mean, if you can do an MBA and be successful in a global pandemic, you could pretty much do anything. So, you know, it's only a positive if you can do that online.
Thank you, Jessica. There's actually some nice questions coming in about what's it like to live in Dublin. So Naman, I know you spoke about value for money on the MBA program itself, but would you mind maybe just speaking a little bit to maybe cost of living in Dublin and how you found it?
Thanks, Adil, for that question. So I'll start with the exciting bit first. I will talk about Dublin. It's quite a vibrant city. I landed here in August, I think 3rd week of August. And so far, again, regulations allowing whatever I've been able to do, all the outdoor activities, they have been quite amazing, right? From beaches to hills and other key things that were open. So it has been quite an experience. In terms of living expenses, I'd say you should budget at least 800 to 900 euros for your living expenses. That is the rent. If you're on campus, then around 1,000 euros for that. On top of that, for food, maybe if you're a heavy eater, if you really like to munch, then 100 to 150 euros would be more than enough. And for other side activities, maybe 100 to 200 extra. So in total, have a cap of around 1,200 to 1,300 euros if you're off the campus, and 1,500 euros if you're on the campus. That should be a good enough budget. Fernando, do you agree to that?
100%. Yeah, that's it. That's the number.
Okay, sounds good. All right, super. Jessica, the next batch of questions are mostly related to the admissions process and specifically around the GMAT. So details on, you know, what's our minimum GMAT acceptance, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that, Adele. So for the full-time MBA, we look for a Gmat score, generally speaking, of 600 and above. So that is our minimum. Now, if for the right candidate, if you're around that, we can absolutely be a little bit flexible on that. But I would, if you're looking for scholarships or certain admission, it would be definitely 600 above. For Gmat scholarships, you're looking at a score of 700 above is what you need to be looking at. We also accept the executive assessment. So we're accepting it this year for the full-time program as well. That's similar to a GMAT, but it's a shorter exam. And we look for a score of 151 out of 200 out of that. And again, if you're considering applying for scholarship, I do recommend that you kind of aim as high as possible. So we don't offer waivers in our school. And the reason we don't offer them is because, doing a GMAT or an EA, it's a great way to get into the rhythm of learning. And it also just kind of confirms that people in the MBA in the class with you, when you're doing group projects and things like that, you can be confident in their ability as well. So for full details, I would look at our website. We also prep sessions for the GMAT and the EA. They're free, they're on Zoom. They concentrate on the quantitative side of things. And we have a few of those sessions coming up. So you can check out our website for the dates.
Great, thank you very much. And finally, we have a number of partnerships with other universities, and some people have been asking, is it possible to do module exchanges? Or could you speak a little bit about what opportunities there are to travel as part of the MBA? Obviously, when things open up again, and we're all able to do that.
Is that for me or?
Oh, well,
yeah.
Whoever.
Yeah, well, I can talk a little bit about if we remove COVID from the situation. So there are 3 opportunities that you can travel within the MBA and the full-time program. So first would be the GNM week, which has already been discussed. So that gives you the opportunity to join, potentially to join another MBA program as part of the GNM network. So there's a range of schools. I won't go through them all. I think there's something like 30 partners now, but Yale would be a big partner, Fudan University, NUS. So you you go for a week, it's non-credit bearing, but you join their MBA. So that gives you an opportunity to explore it that way. We also have 2 international study trips as part of our MBA. The first one is sort of seeing and doing business abroad. That happens, generally speaking, in March each year. And previous trips have been to South America and also to Far East Asia as well. So again, that was done virtually this year. And then finally, we would have our consulting trip as well, normally in June, and that goes to another European city. And so hopefully, we're hoping for next year, obviously, we'll be able to bring them all back in person. In terms of, module, switches, or that would really be something for the MBA program office to discuss on a case-by-case basis. So I wouldn't be able to talk too much of that because it is case-by-case.
Really. Super, thank you. So Jessica, I know you have a couple of slides to close us out. So thank you everybody for that. And if there's been any questions that you've submitted over the course of the hour with us that you felt we haven't answered, please feel free to email us at mba@ucd.ie, and I'll hand back to Jessica now to wrap up and say goodbye. Thank you, Jessica.
Great, thank you so much, Adele. I'm just going to see if you can all see that there now. So again, just to reiterate, thank you so much for joining us today. If you do want to find out more about our program, we do have an awful lot of resources and tips that we can offer to you as well. So the first one I really recommend, if you've not already looked at it, is the Smurfit School blog. This is a blog that's kept by our current students, and Fernando referenced it earlier. It's a fantastic way just to find out exactly how students on the course are progressing and how they're finding it, especially obviously this year it's been a bit different. So I definitely recommend checking that out as a resource. We're always doing a lot of events in Smurfit, as I mentioned before about the faculty, in terms of getting grants, being in the media, everything like that. We're always involved in initiatives as a school, partnerships and things like that. So our news website is always the best source for things like that. I definitely recommend we have social media accounts. I definitely recommend following them as well for kind of up to the minute information. As I mentioned, all of these events really that we've done in the past year, previously if they were in person, it wouldn't have been possible to record them. But now everything's on Zoom or, on an online platform. So they are recorded, so you can watch them back. And as I said, I really recommend going on that smurfitschool.ie webinars page. We have events from the past year going back recorded there, so you can definitely find something. A lot of times we have academics as part of our Zooms. So for example, they give taster lectures on organizational behavior, data analytics. So if you have any interest in them, you can actually get a taster of what being in the class is actually like. So I definitely recommend that. We also always have lots of events coming up. So, you know, events like this and the EA prep sessions that I mentioned earlier. We have events, you know, special markets for our EMBA programs, for our master's programs, and they're all listed on our website. So I definitely recommend checking that out. In terms of our clubs and societies, we didn't get the chance to touch on this a lot, but we have a number of clubs and societies as part of the MBA. So you can set up your own club or you can join an existing club. And some examples there would be GEMBA, which stands for Gender Equality on the MBA. We have a consulting club, FinTech. We have lots of sports clubs. And they're a great way to network, to get to know people. And not only are our MBA students involved in them, we also have some of our master's students and alumni are also involved. So again, it's just a great way to get social, get out, see Dublin. It's a great thing to take advantage of. As mentioned, the Gmat prep sessions, they concentrate on the quantitative side and they are available through the events page. If you have any questions or, you know, if you want to discuss any further, I recommend dropping us an email at mba@ucd.ie. I do recommend email over phoning us at the moment because we are still working remotely with the pandemic. So email is guaranteed to get through to us. So I do recommend that. We also have virtual drop-in sessions every Friday. So these are, again, available through the website, through the events page. If you did have a quick question and if you wanted to drop in on that, normally it's one of my colleagues from the admissions office will be there and they should be able to help you. So that's a good resource as well. And then finally, our next MBA event is going to be on May 20th, and there's more information on our website about that. And that, again, is going to be more of a general about our full-time program, but also it's going to have a lot of information about our executive MBAs. Now, I did see there was some, I didn't get a chance to answer them, but I did see there were some questions about our executive MBA program. So if you've any queries about that, I definitely recommend coming along to that. And that's it. So thank you. I just want to say thank you so much to the panel, for Adele, Mark, Naman, and Fernando. Thank you so much for your time and for taking part in this. And I want to thank the team as well, in the background, who are helping with managing the actual running of it and for logging in. So I think that's it.